All right, here we are again, doing the thing that we, I guess, are doing now infrequently, which is the For Podsterity podcast.
Podsterity, yeah, that's
the thing that we do when me and Seth want to talk about something that either was lost to time or never completed, that we were both involved with.
Stuff that crashed and burned.
Mm-hmm. And
or
today,
smoldered and died.
Or we snuck into its room at midnight with a pillow and smothered it to death.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about campaigns that we were both involved with that, got off the ground. We at least got, an episode in, a session in, and then it died.
Unintentional one-shots.
Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, as I was, going through mentally, hey, what campaigns fit into this criteria, I realized all three examples were ruined by the same person.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about those campaigns, and we're also going to be making fun of someone and telling you how not to be like them. How to be a good player.
Hey kids, here's a list of things that you shouldn't do. Oh god, so which one do we want to start on?
Alright, so here are the three...
Do you want to start chronologically?
The three campaigns are Legends Never Die, Suicide Campaign, and Last Exile.
And Legends Never Die. If you've watched this or listened to this entire series for some reason, you've already heard of this. We talk about it a lot.
Do we? If we do, I probably cut it out because Okay, so Legends Never Die was a thing run by Seth, and we recorded 2 sessions of it
Discord.
Over a Discord call. And for some reason, back when I started editing down videos, I thought it would be a good idea to spend the time to work on that dumpster fire of the first 2 sessions. So they're on the channel, unlisted.
Oh my god, are they really?
I'm going to link both of them in the description of this video.
Don't go listen to them.
They are terrible.
Don't.
We will elaborate on how terrible they are at the start of those videos. I think I mess up the words misogynistic and masochistic.
Both of which are a part of that series.
Is there misogyny? I'm trying to remember. Probably. I know there was classism.
There was classism, and from not who you would expect either.
Right? Alright, let's break it down then.
Yeah, anyone listening to this for the first time is really confused. Yeah, I was the GM for that, and it was on the bones of what would become Harbinger system.
Kind of. A lot of this got... It's weird.
So much of it got retrofit.
It's basically... Seth made a system, then we started playing Harbinger and, gutted most of it, and then added new things.
And then we if you look, we kind of...
Well, you say that. The viewers aren't going to see much.
We kind of circled back to putting back all the stats, except for speed. I don't know why speed is on there. That's a stupid idea.
Yeah, that should be Dex.
Why is speed and Dex both...
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of things today where we both are like, why did
we do this?
Because this was, we're recording this in 2023. This is probably going to come out 2024, if I'm going to be honest. Because I want to release this after Lost Minds, which will happen after Phase 3 of Harbinger. So it'll be a while, but the point is, we did this in 2019.
Yeah.
So this is
the beginning of actually doing freeform tabletop.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was technically the first non-D&D thing I did, besides Harbinger, because that doesn't count.
Did this come before Harbinger or
I think
during?
We technically started Harbinger, and then I kind of veered off and did this and went, no, don't like that.
Okay.
But at this point, Harbinger was nothing, so...
Yeah, at the very least, we had only gotten into, Arc 1 or 2 in Harbinger.
Yeah.
But anyway, the player cast was myself, Abby, the individual in question, Darian.
Darian is his name. We'll be referring to him as such for the rest of the recording.
And Austin was going to be a player, and then just didn't.
And then he wasn't. Actually, wait, wasn't he there for one of them?
He was there. So what happened was we recorded a session 0 with him, me, and...
Right.
But recording cut out, and then he never ended up going to the real game, so we just kind of ditched that completely. Yeah. All right, so what do we want to start with? Do we want to start with characters? Do we want to start with setting?
Yeah, character composition.
Okay.
So that's kind of what brought the series down.
And I'll say this too, just like, same with the previous Podsterity podcast. If we mention a character, they're probably on screen.
So let's start from, I think, the funniest.
Yeah, this poor bitch. I bring her into every reality. This is the first one, though. It's Candace, once again.
This is Candace 1.
Candace A. Something else I'll put on the screen right now, if you're curious. I'll throw up my Candace overlay chart.
your Candace across the wall. The Candace verse.
Yeah. Just basically the similarities and differences, because there have been enough of her where it's like, all right, let's make a Venn diagram. She is definitely the furthest from the other two.
Yeah.
I do specifically remember during this point I was binging the Netflix Defenders shows, and so Matt Murdock and Jessica Jones were direct influences. So if you were to throw those two personalities, put them in the blender, that's basically what she was.
She also has one arm. She doesn't have a prosthetic, which I think sets her apart from the other two as well.
No prosthetic. No magic whatsoever either.
No magic. That is a big thing that separates her.
And no Richard.
No Richard. Richard would come later. I was leaving that clean so you could... Anyway. Are you gonna show their, like, inventory or anything?
No, let's just talk about it.
Yeah, let's just, she had some fun abilities. She was a lot more of a bruiser than the other Candaces.
Yeah, her arc ability, you gave everyone, like, something called an arc ability.
Yeah. It's like an ult.
Hers was battle scars.
Oh, yeah, so for the system, an arc ability was like a character piece. So if you did something in the character's story, they would get a permanent buff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Candace was injured pretty badly.
I like her ability.
And her ability is basically, if I could permanently heal all of her, like, grievous wounds, lots of internal bleeding, I got the ability. And the ability was, for every point of harm that she had, she gains +1 damage, which is really good.
And this was like a 10 horn system?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So she could really start dealing damage. Backhand was a very interesting argument that we had over and over again.
Yeah, because everyone took it because it was way too good.
I was supposed to restrict actions to classes, but then we started talking about classes, and yet again, Darian made this difficult for me, so then I went, fuck it, everybody gets the same actions.
Alright, we've talked about Candace enough.
Yeah.
Let's head over to Heartbreaker.
Oh, no, hold on, we gotta leave him for last.
Okay.
So let's talk about what I think is the funniest character, Gaza.
Yeah, I'll throw on the screen. This is Abby's centaur alpaca.
Not a
woman.
joke character, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Which she was very fond of at the time. Joke characters.
Uh-huh.
But this wasn't a joke character.
And
I wasn't expecting that.
Gosh. If you thought Sierra or Mary were little shits...
This is like Pierre, but malicious.
So, she was a heavy quotations merchant.
God.
And just kind of a blatant murderer.
A murderer, a classist, aristocrat. Okay, scroll down. One of her character traits sucks.
What is it?
Where is it? Is it here? No, attributes, persuasive. Is it? It's not her arc, is it?
What are you looking for?
We talked about one of her character abilities would be if she's near someone of the lower class, she loses a point of speech because she's enraged by their presence.
That's hilarious, and going to prompt a small tangent, because this isn't the first game that Gaza was going to be in.
Oh my god!
The first game that you tried to run, which doesn't even get to fit into this video because we didn't even get a session in,
No.
was called Ark. And I was going to be in it. playing the first before everyone else Victor, before everyone else stole that name.
Victor Zero.
A character that I've had in my back pocket for like 5 years and have not played yet. Abby was going to be in it. Your friend Micah was going to be in it.
Emma was going to be in it.
And Emma was going to be in it.
It was going to be a weird party.
If J2O is out, you would recognize as the voice of Robin, and if J2O isn't out, you would not know what I'm talking about.
So, anyway, Gaza, not a lot to her. Played surprisingly funny by Abby. She really went for a couple of bits, and they panned out a lot better than I thought they would when she started.
Okay, I'm glad you were entertained by it. I feel like that's a generous assessment, frankly.
Not very... Okay, it wasn't very good.
I'm just saying, these people... We linked to the videos. These people can witness this for themselves.
I remember there being one or two good bits. For everything else, not really any substance, but funny.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And we're just very quickly, we're gonna acknowledge Timmy.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's...
he doesn't get a sheet.
What's his name? Matthias?
Yeah, Matthias or something. I don't even remember. Yeah,
I think he's down above. Here. Yeah, there he is.
Timothy Davis Rugenstein of Dimension...
690.
I know.
Very, very funny.
Wow.
Hilarious.
You guys are so funny.
Oh my god, so funny.
Yeah, he was a penguin artificer. Very, very nice.
Fun character. He lived in the ice.
He was going to be played by Austin, and then Austin did an Austin and didn't show up.
This really is Milo Zero, too. It's an animal person with a bunch of tech.
Mm-hmm. And he had a little robot, too.
And he had a little robot called Timmy. But this little robot was just a gun.
I thought he was Timmy.
No. Inventory is Timmy. Because we had a whole argument of, wait, so is it the character or is his robot? Yes. Austin, I hate you.
That won't be confusing at all, I'm sure.
Yeah. So yeah, he didn't really exist.
Yeah.
He almost existed.
He almost existed. I think I make an offhanded reference about him during the session.
So let's get to everybody's favorite character.
Heartbreaker.
I just now realized that's one of the... Oh god, what's it called?
More like Soul Crusher.
That's a Warframe character.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I found this art.
Yeah. So, you know what? Let's start from the top. Because he does actually have some fun things. Actions. He's the only person who didn't take backhand, which is funny to me. Flow. I actually...
Alright, we'll read it out, because no one can see it.
Dodge an incoming attack if your speed is higher than their attack roll.
I think, not to get off onto a tangent, but I think maybe if, like, there were stats and then substats.
Yeah, but I hate substats. Honestly, if I could change that now, it would be turn your action into a movement or turn your movement into an action.
I would just keep the ability and replace speed with dex, frankly.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Though that has potential for being overpowered.
Alright, arc ability. This one was actually kind of cool.
We don't know what it is. It doesn't say. It just says this one is my favorite.
You have it on the sheet, right?
Nope.
The doc?
Nope.
You don't have it on the doc?
This is the document.
Okay, so...
All of you... See, that's the thing about the arc abilities. They were a secret to all of the players. Individually.
Right.
The only reason we know about Candace's is because I'm here. And I have that document.
I told you about the other twos. Right, hold on. What was his ability? Give me a moment. I have to... Oh, of course it was called Kickstart My Heart.
Goof.
Oh, it was... you can roll and take any remaining health that you have, turn that into damage. And if you successfully kill someone with that attack, you get all your health back. And you can do this as many times as you want.
That sounds like a him ability. What was the requirement for that, if you remember?
Oh, it's something about his stupid backstory. I don't remember. Also, his weapons were very fun.
Yeah, an anti-bio pistol.
The future is bulletproof.
That got to attack 2 plus 3 times? What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means it has an attack of 5.
Why doesn't it just say 5?
So you knew that it was being modified.
By what?
I think attack was being modified by Dex or something. I don't know. This, I
don't know what that means, but okay.
The system wasn't really functional yet.
A bit half-baked, one might say.
Yes, absolutely
But anyway, we're kind of...
Getting on a tangent. Heartbreaker, at the core of his character, is a fun build, an interesting idea, run by a character, run by a player who did not have any interest. And we make fun of this particular facet in a line. If you had the nerve to listen to any of L&D, you're going to immediately recognize what we're making fun of here.
Yeah.
Because anytime Heartbreaker was presented with anything in the story, his unanimous response was, I don't care. And this made for quite an interesting problem for me, because I think 4 separate times I threw him a pitch to get into the story. 4. And each time he's went, yeah, he wouldn't care about this. I don't care. Yeah, he wouldn't care about that. And ignored it. Ignored the story. I had to bring the story to him.
I remember at the start, too, like, didn't he, like, fall out of a tree and get a concussion?
He did, in fact.
Oh, I remember. Oh, I also remember the one time where one of the NPCs jumped him as, like, a funny joke and he tried to kill them?
Yes. What was it? Oh yeah, a drunk man threw something at him and he tried to kill him.
No, drunk man tackled him.
Oh yeah.
Which is a little bit more reasonable, but then after the drunk man had been knocked out, he tried to execute him.
He tried to shoot him in the base of the skull. We had to convince Darian not to do that, because it would be a bad idea. You know, I'm getting flashbacks to a certain... Please don't kill important NPCs.
Don't do that. It's
bad for the game.
It's true.
Oh yeah, lesson 1. If everyone in your party is going, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that, they might have a point. They might be onto something.
Yeah, and that goes twofold in and out of character. Like, in character, if you're fucking over fellow players, like, maybe consider your actions. And out of character, if people are telling you, hey, don't do this, like, even if it's just one person, hear them out.
Consider, yeah.
Like, you know, the point of all of this is just to have a fun time with your friends. Anyway.
If it stops being fun, as you'll quickly find out with our ranting, it dies.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's just quickly go over the plot. Because I imagine most people won't watch those episodes.
Please don't, actually. You'll get a much more concise, bearable telling of it.
Yeah. So if I remember correctly, Gaza and Heartbreaker get teleported in from their respective universes
to this just wild wood.
I think the edge of a jungle and a desert.
Yep.
And 2 gnomes are there who Gaza immediately executes.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
And then a bunch of black crystal monsters show up.
Ah, those were really cool.
Gaza and Heartbreaker get chased through the woods.
They meet NPC Man.
They escape. They meet NPC Man, who is also a character you brought back for Harbinger.
And it's funny because in the canon, that's not the world I pulled him from.
Mm-hmm.
So he's technically from a different world, but yeah, Fox is there.
Yeah, Fox is actually
his first appearance.
I think Fox is actually was from the same universe as Heartbreaker. I think that was one of the pitches you tried to hook him with.
That was like my second or third softball that I threw to Heartbreaker. And
that's another not to harp on it, but we're going to. That's going to be this entire recording, us harping on things. If you need to be convinced to engage with the plot, if you're playing an RPG, what are you doing? Why are you here? If you are signing up for a GM's game, it's with the understanding that you are going to at least try to be invested in what they set up. And, like, it's on the GM to make that interesting and, like, you know, relevant for your character.
Have a fun time, right? But, like, you signed up for this, at least try.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, they meet Fox, they meet Candace. They get brought back to the sort of assorted crew where they learn that this place, what'd you call it, Terra?
Yeah. Something like that.
Is a sort of dumpster for the entire universe or the entire multiverse or whatever, and there are people getting thrown from different dimensions here for some reason. And these 2 And that, Gaza and Heartbreaker had been
the newest
shunted into this wasteland, to which, of course, Heartbreaker did not care.
He did not care. I will also add that this game is where I first thought of the relationship between Candace and Fox being that sort of... And we reference it several times.
Yeah.
Them as a duo from
yeah.
this game.
It is fun how I basically was like, all right, so with Harbinger, basically I was like, all right, Seth, I want all of Candace's friends from both of the games she was in to be in Harbinger.
Yeah. Candace really is the crux point of Dimensions. But
it's also really funny, just the chain of like, oh yeah, sure, I'll play Regalia again. Well, if Regalia's here, I guess Richard's here. And if Richard's here, I guess Candace is here. And if Candace is here, I guess Fox is here.
And then I just keep adding characters. I did like all the NPCs that I had for this rogues gallery.
Mm-hmm.
Two in particular, because some deep lore. This game came from another game. I ran this before over in a Discord server with basically the exact same pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And this group of NPCs was the party that I ran. So I just, for this group of no one who will never see this.
That's very fun.
Yeah, this party I ran before, they're the NPCs now. Very cool characters. Really enjoy it.
Yeah, I believe one of the NPCs I stole for Harbinger too as like a Regalia backstory person.
Oh yeah, Pietra.
Mm-hmm.
The very tight-lipped sniper woman.
Mm-hmm. The only other NPC I super duper remember, because there were just a bunch of them.
So many, because this is going
wasn't there like a guy in a pink sweatshirt and had glasses or something?
Yeah, there was a dude who was just in like a sweater with some pink reading glasses. Where did you put him? I don't remember.
I didn't put him anywhere. I'm just saying he's the only one that I super duper remember, because he was like, he had the most screen time, I think. Because the second session of this game was Candace, Gaza, Heartbreaker, and Glasses Man.
Arthur, I believe.
Being sent on a little expedition out to a city. They were going to go to a city to do something.
Looking for something.
They got there. They all split up because of their general disinterest. They talked to the mayor or someone.
Connor, the wall lieutenant.
And then the city got attacked by a giant rolling ball. And it destroyed the city, and we ran away, and Candace shot a gun. And that...
A pretty decent, like, escape section, though. Though that's probably due to literally just Nicholas going along with a bunch of the things.
And also editing it succinctly.
Yeah.
And not over the course of an hour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, if you're still listening to this, but also somehow haven't watched that session, but are going to, put on some music, because there isn't any.
Yeah, we didn't. We were recording it over a Discord call,
and I did not add any in post, unfortunately.
Yeah, it wouldn't have helped.
God.
Again,
harping on something, I just remembered how awful the thumbnail for the Legends Never Die thing is. I used the worst font color possible. So you can barely see the words.
Please put that on screen. Why, though?
I can barely read that. I didn't even put, like, shadow behind the text. Come on, man.
Wow.
Just sad. All right, anyway, let's...
Sad.
Is there anything more to unpack here?
Okay, I was going to go into sort of just the general, so...
Like, world
what have we learned today?
Oh, okay.
Right. So, on my end, I learned... I need to have a lot deeper understanding of what my characters are going to be doing, what they want, and how to drive them forward. And also my players. I need to understand, hey, are they just gonna not?
Yeah, and not to... It's so basic and simple, but really it's the easiest way to do anything. Talk to your players out of character before and after sessions. Like, hey... What do you want? This is what I want. This is the direction I'm going.
Would you be cool if I wanted to go this direction?
But the problem with Darian is he didn't want to go any direction.
He didn't want to go any direction. And I kept throwing stuff at him and he kept just not doing anything.
I'm genuinely curious what he even got out of it. Like, why he even agreed to join.
Well, we'll get to that, I think, next or after that? Because
I want to do Suicide Campaign next.
yeah, so we'll get to that after the next thing.
Okay, so Suicide Campaign was my game. I'm more embarrassed by that than the furry smut, frankly.
Which you can listen about in our last episode.
In our last episode, yeah.
In full graphic detail.
God, man, it's just so disappointing. But to put it as simply as possible, the entirety of Suicide Campaign was a parody of something or other.
Yeah.
But it wasn't self-aware. I played it straight, but everything was a parody of something else, which is just...
I remember the character creation process.
Yeah.
For this game, very, very strongly.
I guess we can start with you.
Yes.
So...
This is Pierce Brosnan?
But yeah, no, basically the pitch of the game was, if you've heard of Surprise Round, because I talk about it all the time, it's a RPG Twitch channel. And the sort of like first big show they did was called Anime Campaign, which uses the epithet system. And so basically what Suicide Campaign was, it's a parody of Suicide Squad, but in the epithet universe. Not even like inherently a bad prompt.
Just wild.
But we'll get into it.
Yeah, I played Octane.
I don't know where the icon is, but you literally played...
I played Octane.
The guy from...
Apex Legends Season 1.
Yeah.
Octane. Yeah.
Yeah, you gave me his icon
Which
and
is
said,
wild,
this is what I want.
Because I didn't know who Octane was at this point. Somehow I found my way into literally just playing Octane from Apex Legends.
And his entire gimmick was... he was a Mundy, which meant he didn't have any superpowers, which is the most Seth thing in the world.
What are you talking about? He did have a superpower.
And his deal was he was an athlete celebrity who live streamed himself.
Fighting crime!
Yeah, which is weirdly similar to a Reflection PC. But this one is addicted to drugs.
Yeah, he does. Well, they're not. Hey. They're not drugs. They're performance-enhancing material.
And so I'm like I haven't looked at this in a while, but from what I'm skimming, I'm pretty satisfied with these abilities. A fun little.
I had a decent kit.
A fun little like movement speed based, immunity to knockback. Liquid energy I like a lot, which is inject yourself with illegal stimulants to spend stamina to increase your roll results by the same amount.
I can just burn stamina.
If you're not familiar with the epithet system, basically your mana pool and your health pool is the same thing.
Same thing. And
so the idea of being able to spend that to increase a die roll just 1-to-1, I like that a lot.
And, it's just any roll, huh?
Yeah.
I do love, just written in text form, nat ones will alert the government. It's a very funny text.
Oh yeah, I'll just read that ability out. Shame or fame. Live stream yourself for your adoring fans to boost your self-esteem. Rolling high will get +2 on damage to your attacks. If you are still live streaming from your previous turn, the added damage will stack. The stream will end if you roll below average. Nat ones will alert the government because it was a sort of illegal operation you guys were doing.
What were we doing?
I'll get to that. Let's go through the other players first. This was a campaign for Seth, Abby, and Darian once again. I'll go to Abby's character.
Admittedly, I think the most interesting.
Yeah. Prima Propina?
Propena?
Propena?
Prima Propena.
And she had the epithet privilege, which is just...
I'm sensing a pattern here!
So, for the record, that was randomly generated.
I think we laughed so hard when we found that, actually.
And again, if you're unfamiliar with the setting, basically, you randomly generate a word, or you randomly generate 3 words, and then the player gets to choose one. And then your entire superpower kit is based around that randomly generated word. And she was a programmer that worked for a company called Honey, and her entire kit was based around her getting zombies, BEE, which is basically, hey, if someone goes unconscious, she was basically a Circle of the Spores druid, where if someone went unconscious, she could control them. and all of her abilities went around that, and I do like how all of her abilities have bee in it. Shared bee sources.
Bee!
Queen bee.
I hold on. Also, very, very funny text that you've written.
Where?
Pull back on your bright pink slingshot and launch a wad of sticky pollen at a single turn.
Oh, wow. A wad of sticky pollen.
Oh, my.
Oh, also, she was very insistent she wanted her main weapon to be an office trash can.
Spring-loaded chip what? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically
chips.
she could whack people over the head with the trash can, or just open it up and a bunch of spring-loaded chip launchers would just like a Gatling gun. Very goofy. Frankly, these characters are the best part of the game.
Absolutely.
Even Darian's. His character was Matthias. He was a auto technician. He had chainsaw arms, I think.
He also played the character that looked the most like him.
And his entire deal was his epithet was Chrome, and so his kit was about... Holy fuck, did I invent the sentiment system?
Yes.
Because his kit was about basically dyeing different people different colors, and each color had like a sort of passive effect. But like, let's say you were to dye someone red and then dye them yellow, they'd turn orange. That would like have the 2 previous effects and then a third bonus one.
Yeah.
He did not use any of his kit. Oh, he could also like summon vehicles,
which is fun.
Which would like also dye people. Yeah, and all the different colors had different abilities. And yeah, that's basically his deal. Here, let me.
You made him. Hold on. You made his base weapons do 5 damage.
That's not much in the system.
Wait. Oh, I forgot. We have 35 stamina.
You should see the fucking red stitch damage dealers out there. Let's see here.
Hit notes.
Yeah, and I had a progression system ready for everyone too.
I have never seen this.
Yeah, we can go through it. So basically, at each of these like number markers, you get different things.
Yeah, this is a lot. This is a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, I gave her a sniper ability.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
I gave her. I like Hive got the power.
Oh, shut up.
Which basically gave her like a signal for her. Because all of her zombies had to stay within her radius, but now she could extend it with that.
She could set down an AoE.
And her outclass is called End All Be All.
And you never wrote something for it.
I sure didn't. And then for Matthias,
out of the blue, more range.
He got access
AoE.
to more colors as he went on.
Okay, flashbangarang. Very, very fun wordplay.
Yeah, the word also wordplay somehow the best of this, and not the actual. I'm so embarrassed to get to the NPCs, man. You don't understand.
Please.
And then for you, I did not write anything apparently.
Did not write anything.
You know what it probably was? I would probably went one at a time, and by the time I got to you, I realized we weren't going to be playing anymore.
The series was just reverse guillotine. I'm sorry. What is reverse guillotine?
Oh, we'll get to the NPCs.
Jesus.
You won't believe his epithet. It's wild. All right. So the NPCs, I'm gonna scroll to the bottom actually first because that's the worst one. I just want to get it over with. So in Anime Campaign, there's a character named he's had so many names. I don't remember what his first fucking name was. What is it? I believe it's Guile Manning. And it's a running bit that Guile Manning will rearrange the letters of his name to be different people. And so I just shamelessly stole this character.
Why would you do that?
And was going to be a joke with myself.
Oh.
So here's Enigma Lunning. I don't know why he's here. I don't know why
he's
thought...
He's here.
It's the kind of... Again, 2019. I was in this sort of headspace that a lot of early D&Ders were at, where it's like, oh yeah, here's my dwarven bard, Lady Gaga,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Where it's like everything is a reference.
It's a bit. Everything is a bit.
So, yeah.
This is just a different character. This is just a character from a series.
All right, let's scroll up to the top. All right.
Oh.
Lucky. This is a little baby. Her epithet is Honor, which all of the ideas that I had about it were like, wow, this is boring, I don't like it. So I looked up the definition of the word, and apparently honor is like a certain hand of cards you can get
It's a very long reach, and I appreciate it.
And so she had card powers. Her main weapon did 2 damage with 3 range, but has unlimited attacks until she missed. She was basically a team buffer. All of her abilities were to help people, so like she could save nat 20s for people. She could generate cards that like had 0 health, but could block. Basically, you could like create a small maze for people.
You can summon barriers.
Card trick: cause any object to disappear. You must also roll to make it reappear. If you roll low on bringing it back, it is lost forever. And passing the bid.
Why did you give her Banish as a 1 stamina ability?
Because she was an NPC and she wouldn't use it.
Yeah.
Unless I wanted her to.
I do think it's really funny though that she could just be like fall.
And she also could just buff people by skipping her turn.
Neat.
Then we have Amanda.
I remember this.
This is the only character that I did slightly steal from in the future for another character that you don't even know about because it was in a JoJo game.
Yeah.
But my JoJo is slightly based off of her, or aspects of her. But yeah, her epithet was entropy, and her entire deal was she decided to become a firefighter because she wanted to deal with all the fires that she was setting. And so her abilities had to do with fire and putting it out. She could set fire to wherever she walked. She had a no damage knockback 3 fire hose ability. So basically, I think basically the idea was like she could deal people 0 damage water attacks or fire attacks that dealt more damage if someone was wet.
Damn, fun.
That's her. And then I rolled at random the epithet Massacre and tried to make the edgiest character ever.
And
so
you also did the funniest bit.
So
with his weapon.
This is Emmanuel Blackheart. His class is Edgelord. His weapon, he used his earbuds as a weapon, and just used them as pseudo nunchaku. So
I want you to cleanly clip yourself saying pseudo nunchaku because that is the funniest phrase you've said in a good long time.
The worst pronunciation too. Anyway, all of his abilities had to do with amplifying that sound to hurt people. People can't heal near him. Instead of attacking one person, he could split the damage up to attack multiple people.
That's very fun.
Ability's called Swing Time.
Yeah, love that.
Which is funny too, because it's a music thing.
Right. I love music-based builds. Like
and then
suffering.
This is the reverse guillotine ability, which is basically you could just suck someone near him and then immediately make an attack.
That's not how guillotines work.
Well, it would be a reverse guillotine where they come to you.
But
also, I said guillotine because I'm reading it guillotine. I know English. Don't sue me.
But a guillotine is the thing that drops the blade.
Yeah.
Right?
So basically, he would make sort of like a fucking buzzsaw with his earbuds, and it would basically vacuum someone towards him. So instead of the blade going to someone, they would go to the blade.
Oh, it's a blade. Okay. Yeah.
And then he could make a sound barrier. And that was the extent of the NPCs.
Very fun. All really thought out.
Thought out kits, not thought out personalities.
Yeah. And you can see sort of our differences there. We're very polar on that.
Yeah, really.
I made the characters before the stats, and I barely had a system.
Mm-hmm.
And he has an extremely fleshed out system.
Yeah.
And then
yet again, like that's not. We've definitely improved over time, but that is still what we do. Like with Lost Minds and Harbinger.
Yeah.
I think that's still where we basically start with everything.
Yeah,
where I start with the system and then fill in the blanks, and you start with the characters, then
make a system around them. Yes.
Yeah. So the story was you guys would go out on missions and find powerful epithet users, and that would be it. But you guys were antsy for a session, so I said, hey, why not? Let's have a session 0.
Ah, yes.
So I threw y'all in a spaceship and was like, yeah, no, this'll work. This'll be a good idea. You guys were in the spaceship. You guys were sort of like locked away. You broke out, which I didn't expect somehow.
How did we do that?
I don't remember. But yeah, you were in a I'll throw up the image of the spaceship on the screen too, because it's a pretty cool asset.
He didn't work on this.
And then you crashed it into, and I'll also screenshot some of the maps too. I'll screenshot, or I already did. Here, look at this. I have the file. So you crash landed the spaceship onto the base.
Oh yeah.
And I can quickly go over the base too, because I hit a bunch of cool things there.
I remember we went over it once.
Yeah, so on the left side is the guys, right side is the girls. I also hit little proficiency places you'll notice in the top left bathroom, in the toilet. The messy room was Pierce's, and there's an empty room below it, and then the one at the bottom is Emmanuel's, and if you notice, there's actually a Rainbow Gamer keyboard on the table. If you zoom in,
enhance.
And then on the right side, there's a little bedroom
with a card tent.
Which is its own map, which I'll also screenshot and throw up briefly. And that's cute. There were just like little cookies in there or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I think also in this room, there's a puzzle of Legends Never Dies background.
There is, yeah. And I don't know why you would do that, but
you know why? Because I wanted to make a reference to everything for some reason. And then there was the room on fire was Amanda's. Then on top of that was Prima's.
And then another bathroom with nothing in it.
Yep. And that's the extent of that. And then the first dungeon, I guess,
it
never
was
happened.
Kind of a dungeon.
That never happened. Was going to belong to the gang lord Bones Malone. Yep.
Bones Malone.
He had the epithet Corruption, which was all acid themed, and that's why he didn't have skin anymore, because it all melted off.
He's a skeleton.
And so yeah, you guys would just be running through this abandoned, I believe I called it a gun factory that had been abandoned, which is a terrible decision to run for Seth, because he knows what those look like.
Oh, a gun factory, eh?
Well, actually, that would be an arms manufacturing.
And as you can see, I decided to do locked doors, because we have a door fetish here.
Jesus Christ. If I hear another one of my players ever ask about a door.
It's funny too, because like, knowing you guys nowadays, I know exactly what would have happened. You guys would have gotten here to the sales door and be like, hey, yeah, you can't go through it. And then one of you would have used your abilities in a way I didn't expect and just burst through the door. And all of this work would have gone to nothing. It didn't even happen, and I know it would have.
You know exactly what would have happened? They would have started trying to dig through the wall.
Something like that. Yeah, and then there were unavoidable buzzsaws, because that's fun.
I love taking damage. Skeleton boss fight is a very fun idea, though.
He had a fun idea, because the idea was like there were big holes in the ground, and he would create more holes with his attacks, and also he would have knockback attacks. So the idea would be like try to position yourself where if he were to hit you, you don't fall into a hole and take extra damage.
Right.
The only other thing of note here is that I wanted Jizzy Jazzy to be a boss.
Oh, Jesus.
Because I thought it'd be funny. And that's it.
Have we ever mentioned Jizzy Jazzy before?
She showed up in Harbinger, but we didn't explain it.
Oh, yeah, we didn't explain... You know what? Well, let's explain that now, because that is sort of a thing that we are talking about now.
So, the very first RPG thing I or Abby ever did was like an hour and a half long. Hey, you're getting dropped in a world, come up with a character with one defining stat, and that's it. And I played Chester Jetster, a guy who had a jetpack, and that was it.
You played Machine Gun Jetpack Man.
And Abby played Jizzy Jazzy,
Sheep woman.
a sheep-themed summoner who could summon explosive sheep that could float just towards people ominously. And
That went about as well as you would
I think
expect.
she exploded me in that session. I also remember I strapped my jetpack to the bed of a truck. That was kind of cool.
That was kind of cool. And then you had a rocket truck.
Anyway, that's who Jizzy Jazzy is.
The Eldritch Demon.
She had a catchphrase. What was it?
I don't want to remember.
She was like, "I'm a woman of taste" or something.
Yes. So we want to move on to...
The final game.
The final game. Do you have anything for this?
I do.
Oh my god, you do.
I saved icons.
What is OnlyFans?
I wanted to collect. So this to set. This is a game run by Darian. I was a player. Abby was a player. Seth was a player. 3 of Darian's other friends were players. One of which was one of the people out of actually 6 different people who said they'd voice Diana in J2O and then bailed on me.
And then didn't.
Didn't even respond, didn't call back, just disappeared, just ghosted me. So she was in that, as well as me, Seth, Abby, and 2 other people.
So large cast.
Big
to
cast,
start.
and it was over Discord on Roll20.
Yeah.
And so to answer your question, what OnlyFans is I had collected a bunch of Oni artwork off of Pinterest.
Which is very, very fun. Your penchant for wordplay never ceases to amuse me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it a lot. Oh my god, are we about to see own titties?
Womana?
Own nitties? So yeah, there's a bunch of art maybe on screen.
Nope.
I don't know.
Nope.
No? Yeah,
No.
okay.
I'm not uploading all of this, there's no way.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, we started this game. I'm not actually sure how the game or what its vibe was, what was going on. Well, the reason for that is that we, being Abby, myself, and Nicholas, were present for one session.
yes.
We want to go over the characters first?
Yeah, let's go over the
Let's
characters
go over the
first.
characters first. Let's
Abby...
start... What did Abby do?
I think Abby... Was Abby present for that one session? Because I know she was going to be a part of the game. I don't know if she was actually there.
I think she was there.
Okay. Well, I know her character was going to be like a giant.
Oh, yeah!
I don't have art for them.
You don't have art for them?
I don't remember what their deal was at all.
Oh. Well,
Which is why I'm considering maybe she wasn't there, because I remember actually
Goliath?
nothing. Yeah.
Goliath, yeah. She was going to be a Goliath. That was her thing. Let's start from the leftmost. Oh, you're
No, I'm going for you more, just because I suspect that I remember more about my character than you do about yours.
That is... You wound me. Oh
Alright, what's his name?
God.
What's his
His
name?
name's unpronounceable. I forgot it the day I made it. But he is a Firbolg. He's a Firbolg druid. Because I had just finished watching Graduation from the Adventure Zone. I was like, you know what? I can do a Firbolg.
Yeah.
And he was really fun. I did give him an incredibly impronounceable name. It was just a bunch of letters.
I love that bird with the antlers. Very
Right?
cute.
I made him just... I wanted to play the least me character. So he's just a dude who lives in the wood. Yeah, but
he's friendly.
No, but he's extremely... He's not charismatic at all. He's extremely withdrawn. He doesn't really want to talk to people.
Hello.
It's me.
He's just a little guy.
I think his voice was like this. Hello.
I don't remember. We were all on Discord and everyone had a shit mic.
I am Firbolg.
Except for me, because I was using this one.
He was talking with the mic that you're hearing right now, so... sounds about as good as you're hearing right now. What is that character art right of mine? Who is that? What is this? Is that a goblin?
Oh, a goblin? What are you talking about?
I can't see what it is.
That's a woman. I guess she could be a goblin if she
I don't
has
know,
a terrible
looked
personality.
green.
Yeah, no, this was one of the other PCs. I don't remember who.
Why are her swords so flat? The fuck?
I think you're mispronouncing swords.
I know what I said. That's what I looked at first. Oh, I just now realized that her leg is... This is a weird pose. Anyway.
Also,
swashbuckler.
Shout outs to Background Chicken.
Yeah. Background Chicken is just carrying every
Just like me. Wait, are those little chicks too?
Oh my god, they are.
Or are those
bread?
potatoes?
Yeah, they're both edible.
Anyway,
this is a swashbuckle woman.
I literally don't remember anything about her, just that she's another player character.
Another character! I think there were like 4 of us present for that first.
And then I played a monk. I played 405. And I made a huge document of Oni lore.
Yep.
That was not read, I assume.
I think I read it.
Well, you're not the person who needed to.
Yup.
And his story was...
Darian said he read it.
He didn't, actually.
What?
He didn't say he didn't read it, but he didn't say that he did. He just said I'd have to remind him, which to me reads as, I'm not reading all that. Congratulations, or sorry that happened.
Would you then say that he didn't care about that?
I would say, in fact, that he did not care about that. So basically, there's a whole island of Oni. There were red Oni on one side and blue Oni on the other, and white Oni in the middle. They were basically having a high-tech Doom-style demon war. And so 405 had been subjugated into their ranks.
Conscripted.
And his job was to salvage junk to repurpose.
Cool.
And then he found a portal and he escaped into the start of the campaign. The most interesting thing about the Oni lore, though, is because I wanted them to be like super biotech-y, I decided to pair that with the idea that Oni have a third eye somewhere on their body.
Ooh.
And the idea that maybe like if an Oni could like graft their eye off and then like keep it in a jar, basically everyone was a lich.
Fun.
So like, maybe someone like had an eye on their hand, so they cut off their hand and get a robot hand and then have their hand in a jar or something.
Yeah.
So just this endless conflict that was not
going anywhere.
Touched on.
Yeah. So that's all the setup that he gave us.
Yeah, so the one session, basically what it was, hey, you're in a room, locked up.
What? How did I get here?
Which is what I did. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't lock your players up in a room together. Austin did that too. Austin did that too. Why is that the go-to thing to do, to lock your players in a room together?
So it's like, so the players can get to know each other. And by get to know each other, they mean kill.
At least in Soul Survivors, I left the door open.
Yeah.
Like...
Also, we were less dipshits.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the moral of everything. Just don't have doors.
Doors suck.
Doors are bad.
Doors.
They are not worth
doors
the effort.
bad. All my homies hate doors. Fuck doors.
I do enjoy the band though.
I love the Doors, but I hate doors.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this bit's going nowhere.
Yeah. Agreed. Moving on.
Yeah, he stuck us in a room, and I don't really remember the other characters because they were bland.
A Dragonborn walked in and was like, "Hey, I'm a Dragonborn," and then we left.
Like, follow us.
And then we left the area,
okay.
And that was the session.
And then we walked, and there was a bridge.
I do remember Seth. One of the funniest things that happened. It wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny in retrospect. You had your hands cuffed.
Yeah.
And you were like, all right, I shapeshift into like, I don't know, a pig or something.
Yeah.
Or like a warthog to get out of the cuffs.
Yeah.
And Darian was like, you can't do that.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't do that.
So am I being magically restrained? What do you mean? No. Like, what do you mean I can't do that? Am I being, like, is something stopping me from doing that?
And what I realized, I realized it's kind of hard for you as the listener to understand our vehement disdain for this individual because you didn't interact with him.
At all.
I mean, again, you can listen to the recording, I guess, of LMD.
Don't suggest it.
But maybe to give you a point of reference, I later learned after this that Darian had not read any of the rulebook for 5e.
At all.
He didn't have a campaign ready. He wanted to run the first session and had no plan for the rest of the game.
It showed.
What?
I never actually figured out if, like... Because I never got answers on whether or not why I could not shapeshift.
And of course, after the first session, I think the big thing was that I think Darian booted you and Abby from the game for some reason because you were late, I think.
Yeah, what happened was we had the first session. It happened, we just kind of fucked around, and we found a bridge, and we're like, oh, this is a bridge with a big gateway, and we're going to go over it. And they went, all right, so that's it for this session. And then we had scheduled another one. And then something happened, and the two of us missed it by like an hour.
If I remember correctly, it was that you missed the first session by like a half hour. So you came into the session late.
Yeah, a little late, but it hadn't really started yet.
Sure.
So yeah, we were a little late for the first session. But yeah, we missed the second one because we were watching a movie. So then we got on, we logged on. Actually, I messaged him. We were doing this in a Discord server, right?
Yeah.
Just kicked. Immediately kicked.
And did not explain why.
And I reached out to him, no response.
So I reached out to him and I said, hey man.
Where's Seth and Abby?
This sucks. I'm leaving.
And he explained, like, oh, they weren't here, so I booted him. And he said, well, fuck you. And you left.
Yeah. He also, at the time, left a very bad taste in my mouth, because he was bad-mouthing two of my friends at the time to me, assuming I wasn't still friends with them.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting here like,
So, what was he just like, oh, they didn't show up, they're not interested?
About you and Abby?
Yeah.
I can fucking pull out the receipts.
Please.
Maybe not for the recording. We'll see We'll see
how tasty this is.
Because as much little regard for this person's well-being as I have, I don't want to, like...
That's a little weird, right?
I don't want to... We're not on Twitter.
We're not going to dox somebody's DMs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, yeah.
But you get to hear the sound of our reactions. Yeah, so basically what happened is you had a family mix-up where your parents wanted both you and Abby for something, and that's why you couldn't make it to the session.
Hey, we're doing something. And we went, oh, okay. Yeah. Just sort of unpleasant.
Yeah. He's the kind of person who sort of like, and again, you know, this was back in, at that point, 2020, early 2020. So, who knows what kind of person he is today, but at the time, he's the kind of person who's like, headspace sort of stays in that sort of high school drama kind of attitude.
And it sucks because I never interacted with those people.
But yeah, the moral of the story is...
You want to run down all of our, like, do's and don'ts?
Yeah, well, I don't know if we can... If you have a list, be my guest.
I'm building a list, yeah.
I was just going to say the moral of the story is... The great thing about old projects and bad people is they can inspire you to be better and see how good you are, actually, by comparison.
And you can use these things to go, oh, I hadn't actively been thinking about that, but I'm going to actively not do that now.
Mm-hmm.
Things that you might not ever do, but now you'd be like, I'm going to steer away from that just in case.
Yeah. Also, just don't undervalue how much engaging with your GM and other players means to them.
Oh my god, it can kill a session right off before it even gets off the ground if you're uninterested.
Yeah.
And you're visibly uninterested. If you're playing a game and it doesn't matter at this point in my game playing life, it really doesn't matter if it's engagement with the system, with detail, or like the other people around you. Engagement of any kind sells the game. And you can keep it afloat by doing that. You can actually just shoulder a game by being the only person super invested. Because other people will go, oh, but they can see that. But also, like, you literally can't just carry a game doing that.
Yeah.
So if we want to go back again and start from the top, go over our cliff notes.
Yeah, sure.
LND, what are our do's and don'ts? From the game as a whole, too, not just Arian.
This isn't a real point. Just the first thing that came into my head was don't be classist.
Don't be classist. Okay, you know what? We can actually pull something out of that. If you have a bit for your character, and it's like a bit you're gonna return to constantly, make sure it's a good bit. And by that, I mean, hey, I'm gonna have this be a defining part of my character. Okay. 1, is it funny? 2, is it going to be consistently funny? 3, is this going to detract from the character?
And this might be a hot take, but my personal opinion is, with the exception of one-shots that are expressly one session, don't have a character that's just a bit.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Also, don't lean on the bit, ever. Never lean on a bit instead of having a character.
Frankly, having a character that is like kind of bland to begin with is probably better than a bit character, because at least they can grow and go up.
You can add to that thing. If you start with a bit, that's with you from the beginning. You have to stand by it or just outright ignore it as you progress, and at that point you're a different character. Yeah. So if you have a bit character, think about it. Really think about it. It's going to probably hurt your interaction with the other characters and absolutely with the DM, because I don't know if you know this, if you're a pure player, the DMs will plan things based on who you're playing. If you're playing someone really dull or really one note, it's hard. Another thing, leading directly into my second point, planning games based on characters. You cannot run a game without knowledge and preparation of who's playing it. It doesn't matter if you're playing a, like, D&D add-on. What are they called?
What, a module?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're, like, moduling or you're homebrewing. Whatever you're doing, you have to, at least a little bit, shape it to who's playing your game. Mm-hmm. Because people like different things. They're going to go different directions. You have to take into account what people want to do and what they will break. And sometimes you just have to play with people a little bit before you figure that out. Which leads directly into my third point. I'm on a fucking roll.
You've got a point combo going.
Yeah, I'm FCing this goddamn podcast. Know who you're playing with, and I mean that as the players. Not to be whatever, but actually choose people for your games. And yes, it can... I would suggest not picking certain people, depending on what game you're playing.
Yeah, some people just aren't compatible.
If you want to play a certain game with a certain crew, and maybe that player doesn't connect well with that crew, maybe that player has expressed disinterest in the kind of game you're running, consider just leaving them out. And talk to them about that.
That's, I think, what one-shots are the best for. Just meeting new people, and then once you've played with them once, you're like, all right, so these people clearly don't work with each other. This person doesn't work with me. I'll keep, A and B, and then bring them into, like, a longer runner that I want to play instead.
And feeling out how they play. Hear the stuff they like.
I think one of my points would be, for a lot of L&D, I was sort of white knighting for Heartbreaker as Candace for the sake of the game.
You were giving him as many softballs as you could.
Right. I think there is a hard line where if your player is being
an asshole,
talk to them about it instead of trying to figure out the solution in universe.
Yeah.
Because if it's a problem with the player, the solution won't be trying to finagle what the character is doing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me. Let's see, do I have anything else? Run bad games, actually. And by bad games, I mean things that you're unsure about, but that you're excited to. If you have fun ideas...
Oh yeah, always pander to yourself.
Just run games that you think will be fun. No matter if you think they'll be good or not. Because L&D was bad. And I got a lot of great... you heard us talk a lot about characters and stuff I have ripped from L&D. Just a lot of stuff that I like and have put into better products now. And I would never have had those if I didn't run that game. I also know a lot of things about running games now from the negative
Yeah, I don't know if this is advice, because I feel like anyone who would do this would be doing it already, but don't be afraid to reuse ideas if you like them.
Oh, yeah, if it's your own stuff, cannibalize the shit out of it.
Frankly, even if it isn't your own stuff. Like, again, to go on to the Suicide Campaign, full-on parody, maybe not. But, like, you know, if you watched a show or something, it's like, wow, I like that character's general vibes, or like, wow, that was a plot point that they could have done better. What if I did it better?
That I love doing. I love seeing things in media and being like, I wish they did this, and like, oh wait, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a thing that I always want to see in a media. Stuff like that is really, I don't want to say cathartic, but it's very fun to do it. When it works, when you lay it down and your players pick it up and they run with it, being able to say like, yes, they're doing it. Because you get to make your own media, and this is a really weird, special kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much all the... Because, funnily enough, for L&D, I did have a bunch of solid world building and characters already established, just because I had run the game already.
Yeah, that was not the issue. The issue was just the reception, and the momentum. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, there is actually one criticism I have for you, Seth. If you're gonna run a game over Discord, have a real mic. Have a real mic.
I did. It was a real microphone. I just lost the padding foam for it.
It was just like the entire
Nobody
time.
told me.
And because I didn't know at the time, I thought it was fine. It didn't cross my mind. So funny.
Oh my god, no. Okay, yeah. Execution. Seriously, if you're gonna record it.
Yeah, if you're gonna record it.
Tests.
If you're going to record it, learn how to do audio. And that goes for me, too. Honestly, all of the, like, that you do when you talk.
Yeah.
All the lip smacks. I did not remove any of those from the L&D recording.
Which
sucks.
Fair enough. Like,
you should, though. If you're going to subject people to listen to your content, you should go the extra mile.
Rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic.
I don't think it is. I personally hate the sound of like lip smacks.
Well,
stuff.
yeah, it's terrible. I'm just saying it's not gonna like. I don't want you listening audience to listen to L&D. Please don't. I have taken pretty much all the good from that series and put it in other stuff that you should listen to.
But you could make fun of Darian.
But we did that for them.
That's true. That is true.
I think that's pretty much all I had.
Yeah.
We'll touch on the other stuff in the different games.
For the record, I do think L&D was like the best of these failed projects.
I think Suicide Campaign had much stronger bones.
Maybe.
I think if it had continued, it would have been real good. It could have been real nice,
yeah.
I think.
So. Going on to that one then.
Yeah. What are your takeaways?
My takeaways are: have a buddy who is not in your game look at your game.
That is a good thing to do.
Because if I had someone looking at the Suicide Campaign, they would immediately be like, "Hey, why are half of these jokes things that only you understand?"
Wouldn't it be wild if somebody did that?
Which is, to be completely honest, something I still do infrequently, but
infrequently.
But those are mostly like, you know, throwaway jokes.
They're quick. They don't interrupt.
There it's gone. It's not like, hey, this entire character is a
look
joke.
At this thing. I don't get it.
Like at that point, just write a book. That being said, if you, the GM, have any control over the character creation process, which in the epithet system you would, I don't know, various other systems, always talk to your players. This is actually a fault on me, I think. I didn't talk with Darian about his kit until I'd made it.
Oh yeah, you made his kit for him.
Yeah, I made the kit for everyone. Basically,
Yeah.
what you do is you make 3 passives and 5 abilities, and then the players get to choose 1 passive and 3 abilities out of those options.
Right.
That's how Jello ran it anyway, who ran the original anime campaign. And Darian didn't like anything I made him. Which
returning to an old point.
Which, like, sure, but like, even there's a universe where a reasonable person would have looked at their kit and been like, I don't like anything here, right?
Yeah.
So, if you're going to have any control over what your player what basically what the mechanics of your character is, because no one likes playing a character that they don't think is a good build.
Yeah. Being stuck with
I know it's kind of
character.
specific, but it just sort of stuck out at me.
Playing the wrong character for them.
Unfortunately, I think my main problem with that game is just how unself-aware I was.
Yeah.
Which isn't really something you can solve outside of having someone else look at your game for you.
And go, hey.
Don't do that. That's
why are
goofy.
you doing that?
I think that's all I can think of to comment on that game.
When you're designing a game, have intention behind putting things in it. Because at a certain point, I am extremely at fault for doing this several times. I'll just add a bunch of stuff because I think it's cool. And then I start playing it and go, this doesn't...
Uh-oh, it's turning into Ruby.
This doesn't fit anywhere. This isn't like a thing. None of the players care about this, and there's no reason for them to.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking out for that.
Yeah, that reminded me of another problem I have with this game. We get it. It's a video game. I'm in the video game camp more than Seth or Austin are. Wow. Of, like, basically game mechanics over realism.
Oh, yeah.
That being said, looking at that dungeon again, my goodness, at least have it make a little bit of sense, you know? There are fun urban dungeons you can make.
Right?
That was not one of them.
Honestly, just factories are really fun to me. Like, what is it? Fucking Droid Factory.
Just don't... No doors, no random buzzsaw traps that are unavoidable.
Flow is something you really have to work back and forth with on dungeons.
Yeah, come up with like a main mechanic for your dungeon and make it something that is fun, that that your players can figure out or find creative ways to go around it. Unavoidable damage and doors are not fun.
Unavoidable damage, unless it's a narrative element, usually just doesn't work.
Anyway.
Moving on to the last game,
Have any plan at all.
Okay. I think I can talk about this, because as literally no one is surprised, I like to go into games with a little less planning than I think most people do.
Sure.
I am a fan of improv. I love improv. So there is a little bit of me that it's like, oh, I'm going to start a game, and I don't know where it's going.
Yeah, and I think the two main games on the channel are like that. Because Harbinger started with just the idea of, hey, let's just play, let's roll dice one night.
Yeah.
And Lost Minds came from Soul Survivors, which was, again, hey, here's a one-shot. I have, two paragraphs of magic rules, and that's it. I'm coming up with stuff as we go along.
As we go. But the main distinction between the two things that we just discussed is that we prepared for the players to live in the world, but we didn't know where they were going.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason this game didn't work is that he had not prepared anything.
Yeah. You know what also Soul Survivors and Harbinger had that Last Exile didn't? Was a tone.
Yes.
They had a vibe from the get-go. We even had music ready and stuff.
Oh, and I'll say this. I usually have a little light for mechanics for preparation. I am never light on narrative when I go into a game. I know exactly what feel I want to evoke. I usually have scenes in mind that I want to get to. But this game, I still don't know what he was trying to go for.
I think what he was trying to go for is he wanted to play D&D and
didn't know
skipped
how.
all of the steps and thought it would just work.
Yeah, I'll DM. I have no idea how to do this. I'll DM.
He just copy-pasted a pre-made onto the Roll20 and called
Did
all
he?
his friends. Yeah, no, he didn't even make the map. It was a... Well, not to bash pre-made maps. Some of them are very pretty, but, my point is he didn't work on anything.
He didn't do any work. And then got mad at us when we missed a game of it.
Oh, that's another thing. Scheduling.
Which is a surprisingly huge part of making any game work.
We play... Yeah. Here's the thing about scheduling. Sometimes you just can't run games that you think you can run. Personally, I think it would have made more sense if Darian, after hearing that you guys had an unavoidable thing, just went, all right, well, we'll wait for a half hour and then we'll go.
You know what I would have done? I would have tried to talk with the players about stuff that happened last time. honestly, because we actually have this problem. I don't know if this probably comes through a little bit. Nicholas cuts like an hour out of every Harbinger, probably a solid 30 minutes just from the beginning, because he presses record and we just start talking, and it takes us that long to actually get to the game.
It's where most of the bits come from.
A lot of the bits
most
come
of the
from
clips.
the pre-game of Harbinger. So like I would have just talked with all my players and like, hey, how are you liking the game? What are you thinking about? What are some funny?
Basically, the point is, the solution to the scheduling problem
was not to kick two of your players.
Not kick two of your players. No, of course, if a player continues to be a problem, like one specific person just doesn't care, then there's a conversation there. But this was the first session.
Be understanding of your players and scheduling, because people do stuff. Like, at the end of the day, people do other stuff.
Especially if you're like, living at your parents' house and they need you for stuff.
Yeah, that puts a huge damper on the stuff we try to do.
What else to talk about?
You want to talk about sort of game design, because that is sort of the focal point of this.
How do you mean?
This Podsterity episode we're doing, of like, if you're trying to launch a game.
If you're trying to launch a game, I would say look at your players and be like, all right, do they know each other or not? If they know each other, then I would say have like a clear vision in mind, have a sort of game plan going into it. If they don't, plan for it just to be a one-shot, and then if it works out well, continue it.
Yeah. Well, we could talk about like world building and story crafting, but the sort of point of these games that never got off the ground is, I think, what both of us had like plans for what we were gonna do.
Yeah, I had maps ready and stuff. There was going to be a bunch of different combats and stuff.
Never even got to them. So a little bit of starting a game, and if they are any kind of new, your players, to each other or you, yeah, I don't plan too far ahead.
Yeah. Or if you do, don't be afraid to copy-paste those to a better group.
If you never use something, it doesn't exist, use it elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that so many times with Harbinger. So many ideas just fall into Harbinger because it's like, I haven't used this yet. That was somewhere else. I never used that. I should do that. Because you spend a lot of time working on this stuff, and then it goes nowhere. So don't do more work than you have to.
What do you think is a good thing we could take away from each of these games? Whether or not it's like something we literally took from it and used somewhere else, or...
I'll give you some positive lessons from each of the experiences I had. Here's a positive lesson I got from L&D. People care a lot more about the current experience than they do about the continuation of a game. The current moment, like you drop them into a world, whatever you're doing and you have in front of them right now, that's all that exists for them and that's all they care about. Usually. Like, they don't know what plans you have in store, and so they won't work towards your plans. You have to cater to the people in your world where they are at.
Mm-hmm. Personally, this isn't how everyone runs games, and honestly, I don't even think this is how everyone should run games, but how I run games normally is, hey, tell me what your characters are, and then let me build a story around that.
Yeah, seriously though. Also, cater to your characters' stories. They will appreciate it. It'll make things go... Oh my god.
It's the bitch alert.
It's the bitch alert. Shut up. I don't care who the IRS sends. I'm not paying taxes.
And if you're a player, you can do the reverse of that.
Oh my god.
If you have the unique opportunity to play a character after the game has started, whether it's like a new character or you're rolling for a new character after they died or something, just like pick a corner of your GM's world and be like, hey, can I be this? Can I be like the embodiment of this?
That is so fun. I love when a player approaches me and is like, hey, this part of your lore interests me. I want to go into that. That's the best.
And then we end up with like some of our best characters, like
I think,
Alice or Beck.
I would say our best characters so far, besides Theo. But even still, going into a world and being like, I'm going to use this world to build my character, and using characters to build your world. Getting chemistry between fiction is also super important. If your characters feel like a part of the world they're in, and the world gives that back, it'll make playing so much easier.
And I think that's a good ending point, because it sort of ties it all back into, hey, this is a collaborative experience.
We're all working together to do this.
If you're in your own head, or you're not willing to collaborate, it's gonna fall apart.
Super fast. So just know constantly, whenever you're playing one of these games, you're working with everyone beside you. Everyone beside you.
Mm-hmm.
You should be. And that should come across, is because there's that idea of like, oh, we're all random people, but you are the random people that are together. You're playing together, so you should try to work together.
Yeah.
And that is the number one thing that will keep a story afloat. You can run modules on that. You can have someone walk in and go, I have no idea who any of you are, and I'm going to run a module that isn't mine. And if you all agree to work together, it can be great. The people have done that for decades. That's how they played it, because they had the understanding that we all need to be in this as a single unit.
Yeah.
So I think the major downfall of all of these games is lack of cooperation.
Yeah. Lack of willingness to pull their weight in terms of investment and engagement.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't just mean like, hey, don't butt heads with your players. Don't be dead weight. It shows.
Yeah.
People, you notice when it's like, here's a cast of 3. 2 of them are talking. 1 of them isn't.
Yeah, let me take a quick diversion just for 2 seconds to compliment Johan on going through a personal character arc for Lost Minds of being sort of like
dead weight.
Dead weight as a character, and then as soon as he got invested in something at like near the end of session 1, he was on that and just kept on becoming, frankly, just a better player over time, which is cool to see like a new player
real time too. Yeah, you had to see it, and that is a series I was kind of worried about near the middle of like, this is
kind of stagnating
friction, and then it kind of died down and it'd show up and like. And it really started to work near the end. We started to, like, even in a game sense, we just worked together better.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I could leave this Podsterity with is have fun and work to have more fun.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Like,
you have to put in effort to make this work.
It's like surfing.
Yeah, it's really fun, but like, you can't just hop on a board and stand there. You have to work. You have to ride what's given to you, and you have to push back into it. That's a surprisingly apt metaphor.
Do we have like a funny bit to end the recording with, or are we just gonna...
Funny bit to end the recording with? Fuck Darian, all my homies hate Darian, you look like a matchstick head ass. And
Piss
no
boy.
one will understand that.
Piss boy!
Oh yeah, he's a... Do we want to end it super hot?
Yeah, sure.
He has a piss kink.
Bye!